Hi, good evening everyone. Today I am going to present before you the praise of Chinese media on India. You see, China is our neighborly country, and China is our most important competitor. We are now not competing with Japan, we are not competing with Germany, we are now not competing with France, we are now competing with England. Now we are competing with China, the second largest economy in the world, right? The first largest economy is the most largest economy in the world is the United States of America, and then the second position is occupied by China. That China, how you see, we have seen that during COVID-19 we had very bad relation, and our relationship had turned, though prior to that, in the second innings of Modi's regime, we found very good relationship between China and India, but ultimately that relation turned bitter. And what are the reasons? I am not going in details, but now my point here today is that how Chinese media is praising India's foreign policy, how India's Chinese media is praising for Modi's economic policies, how Chinese government has praised for India's diplomatic achievements in last 4 years. You see, it was written. It was actually it is based on an article. It was written by Ovik Banerjee. It was written for India TV actually, and it was published on 5th of January 2024. You see, it is rare tone. Actually, whenever you get an appreciation from most of your prominent competitor and most of your prominent, not enemy country, but I will say that most important or the second a very large economy like China. So definitely, Indian people get enthusiasm by seeing the praises that was showered on India. Now, Chinese state-controlled global newspaper is Global Times that has applauded India's diplomatic achievements and economic strides over the last 4 years under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. You see, it is not that only India, only particularly a few newspapers or media channels are praising for Modi's regime. It's not that. You see, the foreign media, and particularly our most rival country, rather I would say, the most rival, our most prominent rival in the global arena is China, and that economy, that Chinese newspaper is praising for Modi government, right? So it is not that definitely you cannot say that it's a paid news. You cannot say that it was influenced. They were influenced by Modi. No, it's not. You cannot say that. Though many of my colleagues here in India and in foreign countries, they have started abusing. They have started criticizing India. Why? Because they have thought that India is rising. The tremendous growth of Indian economy, tremendous growth of India's defense, tremendous growth of India's infrastructure, is astounding. So, considering all those things, they are envious of India, right? That's why from that envy, they are just criticizing, I would say. But you see, when China applauds Indian economy, when China applauds India's achievement and India's economic strides over the last 4 years under the leadership of Prime Minister Modi, it is something else, isn't it? I should say that. So one article was published in the Chinese state-controlled newspaper, Global Times. The name of the article was Bharat Narrative by Zhang Jiadong, right? That article acknowledged India's economic growth, improvements in urban governance. You see, improvements in urban governance and a shift in attitude towards international relations, notably with China. You see, India is a peace-loving country, and earlier also China was a very peace-loving country, and we have many similarities between China and us. So we were, and still I consider that we are brothers. Chinese are our brothers, and definitely we should maintain a very cordial relationship between these two countries, because when China and India joins together, then the world the world will see the impact. The impact will be tremendous. There might be chance that once China and India come together and come closer, and if they work on shoulder to shoulder, if they start working together, then the most largest economies in the world, I mean particularly the Western economies and the Western powers, might be afraid of that, right? And there is a tremendous opportunity for working both China and India. So you see, it is really a rare gesture or rare acknowledgement of Chinese media regarding India's achievements. So Prime Minister Modi's leadership by the Chinese daily and praise for achievements done by Modi in the last 40 years. It is really a matter of dignity, matter of enthusiasm to the people, to the patriotic people of this country, right? So I say that China's stance seems to be softening after India's successful hosting of the G20 Summit last year. India has made tremendous contribution. India showed her glamour. India showed her governance. India showed her discipline. India showed her brilliance of governance, of infrastructure, of hospitality, and diplomacy. From all those perspectives, you could say that the hosting of G20 Summit last year was a tremendous success in the eyes of the foreign media, and in the eyes of the foreign diplomats, and in the eyes of the foreign ruler or foreign dignitaries or presidents and prime ministers across the world. So on the top of that, I would say that bilateral relations between China and India seemed to remain frozen in a new year, as Beijing remains unyielding on repeated calls for the withdrawal of Chinese troops from the line of actual control. Since the Galwan Valley clash in 2020, so during the pandemic period in 2020, we have found that in Galwan Valley there were skirmishes, there were scuffles, and there were a little bit fighting between the two, dashing between the two armies of India and China. Okay, so there has been no progress in this matter, despite several rounds of military and diplomatic talks between our foreign ministers and in diplomatic level. Right. So this is a fact. While India has consistently asserted that there cannot be restoration of normalcy in its relations with China as long as Beijing remains adamant on the issue of troop withdrawal from bordering areas. You see, both the countries have their own national interests, isn't it? So definitely China will see her interest and India will see her interest. But whenever both of us will come together, you see, religion can play a great part, because India believes in Buddhism. Indian people, a lot of people believes in Buddhism. A lot of people believe in Buddhism. Similarly, many Chinese people believe in Buddhism. So both Buddhism or the philosophy, ethics of Lord Buddha can be a joining force. Can be a joining force. Religion can be a joining force between China and India. This religion, Buddhism, or maybe traditional our Hinduism, that is a great religion that speaks about that speaks about tolerance, that speaks about love, that speaks about fellow feeling, that talks about the growth and welfare of all the people across the world. So through religion, maybe Buddhism, maybe Hinduism, we can come closer, we can come together. Once again, we can be closer and we can work together in all or in every sphere. Our cultural ties, our economic ties, our manufacturing sector, our industrial sector, our foreign policy, our defense sector, our space research, maybe our technological advancements and infrastructure infrastructural developments and military developments, all those things we can work together, right? Our science and technology, our cultural ties, our education, in every sphere we can work together. That's different thing. Okay, so this China, maybe it is a good gesture. China is coming closer to India. Maybe it has understood that India is not a bad country. Indian Prime Minister is not a bad person. India is not a harmful country at all. They have understood. They have understood by the activities and by the works of the present government in Delhi under the leadership of Narendra Modi, right? So what did Global Times say about India? Let me say about that. So Zhang, the director of the Center for South Asian Studies at Fudan University in Shanghai, observed that India has become more strategically confident and proactive in creating and developing a Bharat narrative, right? For example, when discussing the trade imbalance between China and India, Indian representatives earlier used to primarily focus on China's measures to reduce the trade imbalance, but now they are placing more emphasis on India's export potential. Yes, India has export potential, a lot of export potential, and India is now or striding or trying to become the hub of world manufacture. India wishes to become the manufacturing hub of the world, right? Replacing China, though China is much ahead of us in terms of manufacturing in small, medium and large scale industries. So India, I personally recommend that the government of India should give more emphasis in establishing or setting up more small and medium scale industries in every village or in every subdivision or town or places in India, right? So according to Zhang, the director of the Center of South Asian Studies of Fudan University, he thinks that the shift in India's foreign policy towards the Indian feature of democratic politics reflected the country's ambitions to escape its historical colonial shadow. Yes, India is trying to escape from the colonial, colonial attitude, colonial governance, and colonial practices, right? So this colonial shadow, India is trying to come out from the shadow of colonial rulers, and definitely India is positioning itself as a global influencer politically and culturally. You see who is praising, who is saying this thing. You see, this is the observation of Zhang, the director of Center for South Asian Studies at Fudan University. You see, he thinks that India is globally shifting or advancing its role in making herself as the influencer, global influencer of politics, or in terms of in sphere of politics and in sphere of culture. See, I told earlier also in my book India 2047, a vision for the golden age. In that book I have elaborately written that why India is called a Vishwaguru. That is one chapter also. So India is already a Vishwaguru in terms of its philosophy, in terms of its religiosity, and in terms of its spirituality. India is a spiritual country. Ultimately, Indian people are spiritual. Indian people are good. Indian people are sober. Indian people can love, respect, and show tolerance towards everyone. India's philosophy is Otiti Deva Bhava. Whosoever may come to India and see the behavior of the people, the welcoming attitude of the people, the love of the Indian people, the fellow feeling of the Indian people, the sympathy, the empathy, all those things you will find only in India. Only in India you will find those things, right? So India is trying to become an influencer politically and culturally. So the article by Global Times further lauded India's foreign policy strategy under PM Modi, which highlighted, you see, how our foreign minister is Jaishankar is working. How you see how many foreign ministers at present are there in the world who can match our is Jaishankar. So he is an expert of foreign policy because he studied foreign policy, because he was in foreign service for so many years. So his experience and both his experience and his study and his academic career and his academic achievements and his position helped him to hold or to understand international politics better than many other foreign ministers of the world, right? So that article by Global Times highlighted the nation's multi-alignment approach. Multi-alignment, it's not that India is making bilateral relations only with India, Russia, India, US. No. India is making multilateral alignments now, multi-alignment approach, okay, and bolstered with major global powers like the US, Japan and Russia, while displaying a nuanced stance in Russia-Ukraine conflict. While the Russia and Ukraine conflict is going on, India took a very important role, because India's relation though with Russia is very good, and India keeps such a relation where India can tell Mr. Putin that it is not the time for war, right? It is the time for peace. It is the time for making peace, or making making tranquility, or keeping tranquility in the global arena. So it is not the time of making war, right? Okay, the same thing is the same observation of India can be found in case of Israel and Gaza conflict, right? So since Prime Minister Narendra Modi, so what the paper said, the paper quoted, quote, since Prime Minister Narendra Modi assumed power, he has advocated for a multi-alliance strategy promoting India's relations with the US, Japan, Russia and other countries and regional organizations. You see how India's relations are being observed by the foreign media, particularly from China. This is the real observation. India's relation with Russia, China, Japan has been improved, and it's a very cordial relationship. Though there are yes formalities, but informal relationships have also been built up by our Prime Minister and all the leaders of these countries, right? So, and Zhang said, and he also added that a transformed, stronger and more assertive India has become a new geopolitical factor for countries to consider, right? So India's achievements under PM Modi in 2023. Although the center under PM Modi has attempted to make great strides over the years of its governments, like the year 2023, it has been particularly successful as New Delhi attempted to strengthen its position in the global landscape and became a reliable voice for countries of the global south. India has become a reliable voice, acceptable voice. You see, what are the terms being used? India has become a reliable voice for the global south. Okay, so PM Modi's work has gained the appreciation of world leaders like the US President Joe Biden, Russian President Vladimir Putin, UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, and earlier presidents of the United States of America. Barack Obama praised for India. You see, Donald Trump praised for India. Howdy Modi, you must be remembered that Howdy Modi was one of the greatest phenomena in the US political history. Okay, so all those people, and the Japanese president, yes, the Japanese Prime Minister, he praised. Germany praised. Germany, we have very good relationship with Germany for many years. Rather, so many decades, rather, I would say. So all those things matter to the politicians, to the observers, or to the professors, of the world politics, right? So India secured a major diplomatic victory in the G20 summit by achieving 100% consensus in adopting the New Delhi Declaration. 100% acceptance, 100% consensus in adopting the New Delhi Declaration. So overcoming bitter differences among world leaders over the Russia-Ukraine war, China, a close ally of Russia, itself acknowledged the joint declaration, sent a positive signal that reflected its views and showed that the forum was working together to tackle global challenges. India also positioned itself as a voice for the global South with the inclusion of the African Union in G20. So India took initiative to include African Union in the global South. So you just think. So in the G20, all right. So this is a great achievement of India, and definitely India expressed, or India was successful in including what is say African Union in the G20 in the G20 group, right? So India has also shown that action speaks louder than words. Yes, in India you will find many political leaders sound much, but their actions are little. But Modi speaks little, and Modi speaks less, but does more. He does more. He is a believer of Karma Yoga of Swami Vivekananda. So he believes in Karma Yoga. He believes in work. He believes in dignity of people. He believes in the service of people. That's why he has been giving his days and nights for the development of the people, for the welfare of the people, for the upliftment of the poor people, for the mental or for the physical, for the spiritual development of the common people of India, not only in India, for the people in global in the global arena. So this is a leader. This is a leader who is influencing the people throughout the world. Okay. So India also managed other diplomatic wins, such as advocating for the expansion of the BRICS to 6 other countries and the G7 summit in Hiroshima, Japan. So Prime Minister Modi's leadership earned him praise from Joe Biden, the US President, who invited him to a historic first state visit to the United States in June, and Mr. Putin, who recently commented about his tough stance on national security issues. You see, India has successfully managed to widen the ambit of its influence in global policy, trade and investment, disaster relief, and even climate change. India's action, particularly the Prime Minister's action in mitigating or in facing the challenges posed by climate change, has been praised from the world leaders. All right. So though the course of these achievements, PM Modi and the External Affairs Minister have emphasized that India's problems are the world's problems. Yeah, definitely. India's problems cannot be the problem of India alone. It is the problem of the world as a whole. So that the focus of geopolitics should seriously consider India's characteristics, right? So it represents a sharp move from the cautious foreign policy moves of the past towards a more assertive and influential character in the global arena. All right. So China's economic slowdown, yeah, China's economy, but yeah, definitely is a little slow. But India is the fastest growing economy now in the world. Everybody knows it. So all those things give a boosting to the people, to the patriotic people of India, who love India, who respect India, who wants to show India to be the global leader, to be the strongest country, to be a developed nation by 2047. With this, I would like to conclude here. Thank you. Thank you very much.